One of the most legendary duos in the history of college football is that of Pat White and Steve Slaton in the mid to late 2000s, and I thought, what if we put them into current day college football and see what this duo can do? This team had come close to competing for a national title multiple times, multiple 11-win seasons, but especially in 2007, they had that heartbreaking loss to Pitt that knocked them out. And with the college football playoffs being around today, could this team have won a national championship if they went out there and had a chance to compete for it? Obviously, I didn't go and remake the entire team, but Steve Slaton and Pat White were the heart and soul of that team. They redefined a era of college football for certain people. You know, so many people have memories of just booting up late 2000s college football games and NCAAs and running speed option with them. So we're going to put them in here, see what they can do. They're going to be starting off the bat as a freshman. I don't care what their overalls are. Throwing them in there as a freshman. What we're going to be doing is going through each of their 4 seasons here on campus and going through if they have any games that are worth hopping into. We will do that. They start off with a win over Akron. I did my best to, one, adjust the slider set so that we have less, interceptions and the gameplay actually feels a little bit different. And 2, I tried my best to replicate the way that West Virginia played. The playbook that, after some testing, worked the best for me was Liberty. Pat White, for as great as he was, never even threw for 2,000 yards in his career. This team ran the ball, and they ran it a lot. White had 1,000 yards, Slaton had 1,000 yards, but we have our first action here. And what do you know? It's against Pitt, and I know West Virginia fans, I'm sorry to bring up some old wounds here, but we're here to relive some of the fun times. And Pat White to throw it, he's going to go over the middle, and that's going to be intercepted. I promise you there's not as many interceptions in this video. It just coincidentally started off with an interception, but now Pitt with the football. They are going to get sacked here and holding the lead for now. It's 4th down and very long. Pitt going to throw it for the first down marker. It's swatted away. First down now inside the red zone for West Virginia, and the handoff to Steve Slaton is going to get him to a field goal try on 4th down, and the kick is good, but it is still a 1-score game, meaning you go down, you score a touchdown, get that 2-point conversion. You had a chance, and a swat there on 3rd down is going to bring us 4th down, and another chance for Pitt is going to have the first down. He hung on to that football under a minute to play and dropping to throw once more outside. That's going to be caught on the run for the first down, and he gets out of bounds, which is huge. So they're at about midfield, 45 seconds to play, throwing one deep, and that's going to be caught, and he gets tracked down at about the 5-yard line. It's goal to go, 2nd down and goal, and he's going to get sacked. So West Virginia running the clock down. It's 3rd down and goal. They can't spike it here. You only got 2 shots left. And to the end zone, it's knocked away. 4th down and goal. Last chance. And West Virginia trying to hold on. And they are able to swat that one away. And West Virginia in their big rivalry game. I know it's not the win in 2007 that you wanted, but it's a win here. As this team in real life, when Pat White and Steve Slaton got out there, they hit the ground running with an 11-win season. I don't know if they're going to be doing that this time around because Pat White didn't throw the football a whole lot as a freshman, but he's going to be throwing it at least a little bit more. I couldn't get his pass attempts all the way down to, like 4 a game like he was doing in real life. Unfortunately, they're going to go down to BYU here, but these two are going to grow as freshmen and be able to put forth that effort together to be as good as they can, get all the XP, get all that stuff that they need, and they're looking pretty good here against Arizona State, a 2-score lead, 31-17, and Arizona State's not able to get that touchdown to make it a 1-score game, so West Virginia's at least looking good. They're in the top 25, they're kind of in that mix, and Pat White, you can see, though, I've been able to kind of simulate it pretty accurately to get it to where he's only thrown the ball like a dozen times, and he's run the ball like a dozen times. So if you want something like that, Liberty's playbook was the one that I found to have the most success, and it's a 17-17 game here against Colorado. So West Virginia throwing here with the football in their possessions. That's going to be caught and past midfield. It's going to be a first down. Forward progress. We'll keep it there as is a minute and a half to play. Trying to get no game with a field goal range. Pat White's going to take off, and Pat White has a 20-yard run, and he's got his team in the field goal range. Minute 15 to go. Handoff Steve Slaton, and he's not able to get the block there. 4th down is going to be setting up another field goal try, but they were able to run the clock all the way down to about 30 seconds to play, and now all the way backed up. 4th down and long for Colorado, and they're going to test one over the middle. Incomplete. They're going to be moving through these 4 seasons, trying to get it pretty quickly. Let me know what you think of this new format of a video, just going through the seasons, but simming them, showing you the results and the stats, and if there's a close game to hop into, we'll play through it and see what goes on. But against Houston, it's going to go down here, and West Virginia loses that one. So the record that they have to uphold, we are going to be comparing their seasons against one another. At the end of each season, we're going to go through and have a side-by-side comparison of what they did in real life compared to in the game. Here against Kansas, they're getting smacked. I mean, they put up points, but the defense just could not help them out. And Steve Slaton's getting a lot of carries. He is just not producing as much as he maybe was in real life as a freshman, but against UCF, they're going to get the victory here. UCF was able to score right at the very end, but I mean, it was 21-3 going into the fourth. It was a pretty controlled game in their favor. White, again, just kind of hovering around 100-plus passing yards, and we finally got another close game to hop into here against Texas Tech. They're ranked, so it would be a big win for West Virginia to try to get themselves back into the top 25, but they've been on a little bit of a downturn with the loss to BYU and Kansas and Houston, but they got the football here, up by 2. They're going on a drive, another first down, continuing to run the clock, continuing to run the ball, and one more first down will do it. And even though they're not a high-scoring, high-flying offense, I mean, right now, they're doing enough to get some victories here in these lower-scoring games when you have this clock control offense and you're grinding out the football. I mean, you're throwing for under 100 yards passing. You're completing 4 passes, but you're still able to win a game because you have Pat White and Steve Slaton on the ground. We got TCU here, and West Virginia finds themselves back into the top 25. So it's not going to be a playoff appearance in year 1 for them, but they are just 75 overalls at the end of the day, so it's going to be hard for them to replicate that success, but their overalls should be able to take a big jump. I was able to get both of them to have elite development and find guys accurate enough and look enough like them, you know, number, gear, and editing, all that stuff, as West Virginia's going to get the sack, get the win, and they do end the season on a bit of a hot streak, so they're going to go and win 8 games and find themselves in a bowl game. It's not going to be, you know, a playoff game or a game that you're excited about, but hey, I said Liberty's playbook might be the move, and you know, they go out there and win the Heisman with their quarterback. I don't think we're going to be throwing 50 touchdowns anytime soon, but we got the Liberty Bowl against Tulsa, so probably saved like one of our easiest games for last, and it's showing to be pretty easy. I mean, it is a mismatch, even though this team is a little young right now, and Pat White and Steve Slaton are still in their freshman versions of themselves. The freshman versions of them were still really hard to guard and hard to cover, hard to get down on the ground, and West Virginia is going to come out here, get a 9th win of the season and a bowl victory, so we're going to be pretty satisfied with that and ending the season in the top 25, and overall we could kind of look at the end of season stats and see what overall they were able to do throughout the entire course of the freshman season. Pat White, I mean, you need to cut down on the interceptions. 51 completion percentage is not great, but, you know, he wasn't a great thrower of the football. As electric and amazing as Pat White was, he was not a great thrower of the football. Steve Slaton had 1,000 yards. It took a lot of carries to get there, but as we compare that to what things were in their real-life situations, in real life, 11-1 for Pat White and the West Virginia offense. They won a bowl game. Pat White only threw for 800 yards in his freshman season, 8 touchdowns, 5 picks. The completion percentage wasn't high on either end, but in real life, he's got it. But in sheer, you know, production, he had it in the game with the 1,500 yards, 14 touchdowns. On the ground, though, Pat White in real life was a lot better. It's going to be hard to replicate 7.3 yards per carry, but in real life, he has the edge on the ground. In the game, he had the edge in the air, and we'll see what that looks like going forward. And in real life for Steve Slaton, I mean, both of them had about 1,000 yards, but one had 17 touchdowns, one had 8, one did it on 60 less carries. So, you know, in real life, Steve Slaton was amazing out the gate, and it's, again, going to be hard to replicate that. Also, just like some of it with the level of competition, we are playing in the Big 12 by this point. Back then, they were in the Big East. The Big East doesn't even exist anymore. Big East had some nice teams at some times, but obviously not Big 12, even though the Big 12 is kind of nerfed at this point, but still a little bit higher level of competition, I'd say. Going into their next seasons, the overall jumps are looking pretty nice for Pat White, and you could see here, I mean, thank goodness I found a quarterback that was able to have, you know, maxed out speed and elusiveness caps, so he's going to be up there when it comes to his speed. We're not going to have to worry about that. And Steve Slaton, I mean, we've done stuff on this channel when it comes to running back developments. A running back with elite development that starts like mid to high 70s, they'll get up there pretty quickly, and obviously Steve Slaton's already up to the, you know, 80 and beyond. So we're going to be going into season number 2. And I also wanted to show you another player. You know, I was just kind of putting things on auto recruit and letting things happen. We got a 91 overall blocking tight end who's a redshirt freshman. I ain't ever seen anything like that before. I just wanted to show you that because I thought that was pretty cool. But hey, you give this offense a blocking tight end that good. I mean, yeah, just keep adding to the rushing production. This team could get a little bit more dangerous this season. Season 2 starts off with a victory over East Carolina. You got some expectations now. You're up there in the polls, and you got to come out here and make the playoffs. I fully expect this team to make the playoffs because the roster around them is good enough. Just like in real life, they had a nice roster around them, but it wasn't stuffed with NFL talent. You know, in real life, this West Virginia team, aside from Pat White and Steve Slaton, I mean, like, there wasn't a whole lot of NFL talent, but you can look in the read option here. Pat White getting a first down. It is a 10-3 game over USF. They are in field goal range, though, and a handoff to Steve Slaton's going to set up third down, and Pat White is going to just hand it off to Slaton once more, who's going to fight his way close to the marker. He's not going to get it, but they're going to settle for the field goal. Smart decision, get the 2-score lead. And with under 2 to play, we're just going to go sim along here. And they're going to get a touchdown, but it's with 11 seconds to play, so I mean, even if they recovered the onside kick miraculously, they would have needed a Hail Mary. So a nice win in the non-conference schedule, a former conference rival of theirs, and again in the Big East. But you'd like to see a little bit more dominance out here if this team's got some expectations, especially when you're out here against UMass. And, you know, UMass got to stop. They're trying to make a comeback here. We'll kind of spectate the final 30 seconds and see if they can do it. But you're over here struggling against UMass, and now they got a big play. They're about the 35-yard line and under 20 seconds to play, dropping to throw, and he's got a lot of time, but nowhere to go with it. He's going to get sacked, and now they got to get back to the line. They spike the football, 2 seconds to play. Hail Mary on its way, and West Virginia trying to survive. UMass throwing it up, and it's going to be knocked down, and another scare avoided for the Mountaineers, and they're going to get a 35-28 victory, and it was a close one with UMass. And Pat White had a nice game, completing a high percent of his passes, over 200 yards. He hasn't gone over the 200-yard mark very much, and now we got a little bit more of a comfortable victory here against Iowa State. Now we're starting off against conference play. You'd like to make that conference championship, a top 10 team in West Virginia right now, and Pat White is up and down through the air. I would like to see how good we can make him as a thrower, but I'm also trying to balance the level of realism because I was worried doing this that, you know, high overall quarterback would just equal him throwing for like 4,000 yards, which I just didn't want that to happen. But if we can hit like 3,000, I'd be interested. A 45-6 victory over TCU is massive, and look at the rushing performance. That's what we're here for. Over 100 yards for both of them. Kansas, they got their butt whipped by Kansas last year, and now they're in a close one against them, and will Kansas be the one to knock them down? They got a 7-point deficit with the ball, under a minute and a half to play, and a lot of time in the pocket. That's what happens when you rush 3. You make that risk, and someone eventually gets open, and they're right on the fringe of the red zone here at the 20-yard line, and throwing one. It's going to be a nice clean pocket, and the back of the end zone, caught for the touchdown. West Virginia has under a minute to play, third down, and they're just going to run the clock out. They're going to be content taking this to overtime potentially. Kansas, though, ran one play, got themselves into really long-distance Hail Mary range, and they're going to take the shot. Why not try it? Throwing it from your own 30-yard line. There's a flag on the play. The ball's tipped around, and it's going to be caught, but he's going to get tackled down at the 1. But there's a flag down. What is going on right now? It's pass interference. They're calling pass interference on a Hail Mary. I don't know about all that, but now look at the position. They're going to have enough arm to get this to the end zone. They already called one Hail Mary. Will they catch another one for the win? It's incomplete, and we're going to overtime with a wild ending there. Jayhawks got the ball to start it off, though. Second down, it's going to be a little reverse, and it's going to work for a first down and getting it to about the 11-yard line. We're going to mark him at the 12, and it's going to be a handoff inside. That's going to be an open lane, fighting his way in. That's a touchdown, and now West Virginia is going to have to respond. It's 2nd and 12. Pat White to throw. He's got a clean pocket, but he's just going to take the check down underneath, and it's going to set down 3rd and long. It's 2-down territory here, as you could just go and get yourself a little bit closer, but it's incomplete. Now it's going to be 4th down, and you got 8 yards to go. Pat White throwing it, and it's going to be intercepted at the goal line. And I do have to question, they did just drop back and let Pat White throw it like every time. You got the best run game in the nation potentially with those two in the backfield, and you got upset by Kansas, and now Kansas has beaten them 2 straight years, and even though it's only 1 loss, it was a loss to a really bad team that's going to knock them down in the polls quite a bit, and now the margin for error goes down quite a lot, as you are all the way outside the top 12 in the playoff race. You're going to get back on track with a victory, 27-9 over Houston, but you need to rack up some more wins. You got to win at least 10 probably to get into the playoffs. So it's another handled victory here against Arizona. They scored a touchdown at the end, but it's still 29-13 in a victory there, so they're slowly climbing the polls. After a bye week, they climb a couple more spots, and now they're trying to find their way back into the top 10, and you maybe need to run the table if you want to go and make the conference championship against Cincinnati now. Cincinnati's came back and tried to make this a little bit closer, but West Virginia was able to shut the door on it, and 24-21 is the final. So West Virginia now inching a little bit closer, trying to shake off that anomaly loss, as they'll probably try to paint it as they try to continue their case to be in the playoffs. They're in the top 10 now, and it's a close one against Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State has the football, and they are trying to put them on upset alert all over again. This is a 2-8 team, so if you lose this one, I mean, even though it's just 2 losses, these would be 2 really bad losses that you can't afford to have. And thankfully, you're getting a sack here on 3rd down, forcing 4th down, and an opportunity to put this one away. Can they get a 4th down and 14? No, they cannot. It gets knocked away. And now 1 first down will probably end this game. 3rd down, they're going to throw one, and they're going to get a touchdown. They don't need a first down. The touchdown's going to end it. And Pat White delivers the game's dagger. And they're going to survive a little bit longer going into the final week of the season. Top 10 in the nation. You win this game, you're probably safe. And it's against a ranked Utah opponent with the ball, 7-point lead. And a timeout there is going to force a 3 and out. West Virginia with the opportunity to get off the field. Now 3rd down, strike over the middle. That's going to be caught. And he's going to go all the way for the touchdown. And with under a minute to play, West Virginia has a little bit of time to see if they can get into field goal range. But Pat White throwing one down the sidelines. That's going to be caught close to midfield, 45-yard line. 1st down and 10. 45 seconds to play. He's getting sacked. And now 2nd down and long. You need a big play over the middle potentially. You have the timeouts to do it. And Pat White, he's just going to run it. And he's got the first. And he's going to slide down inside the 40-yard line. It's going to be 2nd down and 14, though, after a sack. And they're going to throw one out. That's going to be caught. Slaton is going to get it. Kind of fringe of field goal range. 3rd down. And they spike it on 3rd down. Punt it away. And we're going to overtime. But they're going to get the sack. I don't understand that clock management or who was making the decisions there. Did they just forget it was 3rd down? Because they actually spiked the ball and then punted it. I don't know what that was, but I see that was a field goal doinking off the upright, and West Virginia might have just caught a massive break, and Steve Slaton is going to put this one away. Even if they made the field goal, it didn't matter. Steve Slaton gets it in for the touchdown, so West Virginia is going to win, sweep the rest of their conference schedule, and despite going 11-1 and 8-1 in the conference, they're not going to make the conference championship. But I guess that's not so bad because it basically guaranteed them a playoff spot, and they're taking on Baylor, the team that lost the conference championship, so they get a home playoff game. They didn't have to run into Baylor or Kansas State, who were the best teams in the conference, so they got a very light schedule, and they're going to be down by 3. Baylor has the football, 2-minute warning, trying to tick this clock away. Handoff, that's going to be a 1st down, and now West Virginia starting to burn the timeout. 2nd down and 13. It's going to be a handoff and a stop in the backfield. 3rd down now, and another handoff is going to be met and brought down. So West Virginia, Pat White in the offense is going to get an opportunity. Minute to play, and it's going to be onto the arm of Pat White, but he's going to try to use his legs, breaking a tackle. He's going to run up the sidelines, and he's going to get pushed out of bounds, but what a job from Pat White, staying on his feet, keeping the chains moving, keeping the clock stopped, but he's going to get sacked here, and that's exactly what you don't want to have happen. They're going to have to spike the football and then go to the air once more as Pat White is going to throw it out of bounds. He looked like he was maybe going to get hit, didn't want to risk getting tackled in bounds, and now on 4th down, last opportunity, taking the shot deep, and he had a man, but he underthrew it. If he put a little bit more air on that one, I think he had a chance. He had the opportunity, maybe, if he just put a little bit more on that one. There were 2 defenders there, but the receiver had a step, and that's going to be incomplete. West Virginia is going to get knocked out in the 1st round, but definitely still a success here in year 2. Pat White, though, you got to cut down on the turnovers a little bit. If you're going to only throw the ball like a dozen times a game, you cannot be coming out here and throwing double-digit interceptions like that. Steve Slaton, also had a better season. Both of them really did overall improve, though, aside from Pat White's turnover issues, but the team overall improved. The two players performed a little bit better, and as we compare things to what they did in real life, Pat White, like I said, got to cut down the interceptions. He threw 7 in real life compared to 11 in the game. The rushing production, again, a little bit better, but it's going to be hard to replicate the 7 yards per carry. 60 completion percentage, that's up 9 from last season. And the yardage, identical. The overall touchdowns needs to get up there a little bit. West Virginia doesn't seem to be scoring quite as much in the game as they are in real life, but coincidentally, 11-2 was the record of both teams in this year too, so the results were the same. And as for Steve Slaton, I mean, identical amount of carries almost, pretty similar amount of touchdowns, just one average 7 yards a carry, one average 5 yards a carry. In the game, he hasn't been getting involved as much in the receiving game, whereas in real life, I mean, that's over 2,000 yards in a season, and while year 2 in the game was pretty good, Steve Slaton, I mean, that just goes to show how amazing he was in real life, but we're going to see if we could top those numbers as we head into year 3 of the simulation. So these two guys are juniors now, and they're looking pretty solid as they continue to get nice growth. Having the elite development helps out a lot, and Pat White is almost completely maxed out. He's got incredible abilities to run the football, and honestly, if I moved him to running back, he could probably be like a 90-something overall running back, but we're keeping him at quarterback, obviously. He has insane speed now and has all these traits and everything, and as we move over to Steve Slaton, he's going to be an 89 overall, so he's on that fringe. I'm going to do everything I can to make sure he doesn't declare for the draft because I want 4 years for both of them. Now, in real life, Steve Slaton left after his 3rd season to go pro, but, I mean, it would be kind of less fun for the video if we didn't have the extra season of Steve Slaton to see what he could do. So, if he gets up to the point where his overall deems him to be in the draft, which is basically just like 90 plus, I'm going to make sure we get 4 years of these guys. And Florida State, you can see, they scored 20 points in the 4th quarter after being down 28-0. So, I mean, that was a weird situation, but a starting season win. And look at this score. I mean, 45-5. So they allowed a safety, but 45 points is going to get the job done. And Pat White, it's like you're throwing 4 touchdowns nowadays. He can actually, you know, not just throw for 110 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, but here we are in a close game against Kansas State. We avoided playing them last season, and they are obviously very good. They're always really good in this game, so we're going to have to try to take them down if we're going to get back to an opportunity to have a Big 12 championship appearance, because going 8-1 in the conference last year just wasn't good enough. In a 21-21 game, Pat White's got his guys driving down, and he's going to tuck and run a spin move. He's going to get brought down, but he hit a spin move on the guy, and we're going to get the field goal out of it, so the defense is going to have to come up and do their thing. 3rd down for Kansas State as they're going to drop the throw in, and the pressure's coming in. It's a sack and a fumble. Kansas State's going to somehow maintain possession to get a 4th down try, but they're going to have to go a long way, and they throw an interception. Had to force one there. The game isn't over quite yet if they can hold to a field goal. So West Virginia's offense is going to take over in the red zone. 3rd down after 2 timeouts used. Pat White's going to just take the sack. Better than throwing an incomplete pass, but the field goal is going to be up, and it is good. So Kansas State has one more opportunity. Touchdown could win this game, and they need to go the length of the field to do it. And a swat down there on 3rd down. Now it's going to be 10 yards to go. Drop into pass and clean pocket. A lot of time. No one's getting open. Eventually, if you hold onto the ball that long, pressure's going to come in. You're going to get sacked, and now it's 4th down and long once again. And the coverage for West Virginia is holding up very nicely. I mean, they're only sending 3, so they're giving the quarterback plenty of time, and they're going to throw one deep, and that's going to be intercepted again, and just no one down there. There was 8 guys in coverage, and every single one of them made sure that nobody got open. West Virginia is going to have a monumental victory on their road to try to get to a national championship. And Pat White played himself a very solid game, and you could see so far this season the completion percentage for Pat White looking a little bit better. And this game, Oklahoma State didn't give us the issues that they gave us last year, as White does not have a great game through the year. But when you look at the ground stats, look at the duo of those two going crazy, over 100 yards comfortably, and a comfortable victory over Colorado. So West Virginia fighting to be the #1 team in the nation, and this is how we get things coming together with these guys. But despite the success this season, Baylor knocked us out of the playoffs last year, and now they're going to win here. And the weirdest part about all of this is somehow DJ Lagway is on Baylor. I have never seen anything like that before. DJ Lagway always goes to like Arizona and Texas Tech, but him going to Baylor, hey, I'm a Baylor fan, so I'll take that, and I'll take the opportunity to plug the Baylor Dynasty. If you want to see that dynasty where I actually go through and play all the games, I got one on the channel. But an FCS team, I just thought I'd talk right through it because it's an FCS team, and we just got stuck with one in the middle of the schedule, but now continuing back into and finishing out Big 12 play. A game against Iowa State is going to be a 2-score one. They're not going to be able to get it to 1 score, so West Virginia is going to come out here in a scoreless fourth quarter and win it. I really noticed the improvements from Steve Slaton this season. He is just racking up 100-yard games time after time. I do love the amount of carries that he is getting as Pat White. Now, we got a close one here against Cincinnati, and it's a 14-10 game as Pat White's going to slide down for a big run, 48-yard line. Just over 2.5 to play as Steve Slaton's got the carry, and he's got the first down, getting out of bounds, and he's over 100 yards once again. Third down now as we jump ahead. Steve Slaton with the handoff, and they're going to burn a timeout as they just tried to run the clock out, and they weren't able to get anything out of it. Now, Cincinnati's got the football and an opportunity to take this lead. A minute to play as they're going to be throwing one, and the block gets picked up. Nice block there, and the run is going to get him a first down and more. Look at him juking out a guy. It was a weird juke, but he got it outside, and now 3rd down and 10, but they are closer to the end zone, and they're going to get sacked here. It's 4th down and long, and the opportunity to get this one over with as they're trying to survive the scare at Cincinnati, and they're going to be able to swat the ball down and pick up the victory. And this one got a little scary at the end, but against a ranked Cincinnati opponent, they're going to have just enough to get the job done. And even though it wasn't pretty through the air, Steve Slaton was able to do his thing on the ground, which has been the most reliable thing to count on, as Pat White's been very inconsistent. Sometimes he'll have a nice game through the air, sometimes he'll do it on the ground, sometimes he'll just do nothing, and Steve Slaton will do all of the work. But I can't say that about this game because Pat White has a career day. He completes all but one pass and has almost 300 yards. He's never thrown for 300 yards in his career, and West Virginia is going to take care of business against BYU. So I think if we can win out, 8-1 in the conference should be enough to get us to the conference championship this time around. I would be shocked if it didn't. And another double 100-yard game from the dynamic duo, and a game against USF. They are ranked, but it's not going to matter. They get a touchdown at the end to make it a little bit closer, but West Virginia's going to take care of business once again, and we're going to be moving on. I said 8-1 should be enough to get us to the conference championship, and this time it was going to be enough to get us to the conference championship, but we're facing the team that's beaten us twice, once in the playoffs, once already this regular season. It's the DJ Lagway-led Baylor, who is down by 7. West Virginia's got the ball 3rd down and long. Pat White throwing one, and it's going to be intercepted, and that's going to be taken by Baylor into enemy territory and close to the 25-yard line. So they're going to be setting Baylor up with an opportunity to tie this game up. Lagway, it's going to be a broken sack, but he's going to get sacked on the second try, and now way backed up. You need a big conversion here. 2nd down and 21 draw play is going to get them a lot of those yards back, almost all of them. 3rd down and 11. Lagway to throw it, and he's going to get hit as he's throwing, caught, going to get him a little bit closer to the 4th down and 5. You turn 2nd and 21 all the way to 4th and 5. You'll be happy with that, and it's not going to be enough though. They get 4 yards on 4th and 5, and now West Virginia a couple of first downs away from ending this one, but Pat White probably made the wrong decision there, and he's got a lot of rushing yards, but he probably should have handed that one off. 2nd down and 15. White's going to keep again, and he's not going to get it. 3rd down. Baylor's probably going to get an opportunity here. White's going to keep it a 3rd straight time, and he gets a better run there, but it's just not going to be enough. Baylor's got great field position, and Lagway's going to throw it. 1st down gotten, and into enemy territory, 46-yard line. Going to be throwing it, and Lagway over the middle. That's going to be caught at the 30. Hurrying back to the line. A minute to play. Lagway to throw it, and on the edge right there, the edge gets knocked over. It's going to open up a lane, and Lagway's going to take it and run it. And Lagway inside the 10-yard line. It's going to be right at the 10. That's basically goal to go. I don't know how they get a 1st down from here, as Lagway's going to throw it, and it doesn't matter. We don't got to talk about that. It's a touchdown for Baylor. We're going to overtime here, and Lagway's going to get the football to start, and can Baylor do it for a 3rd time? Take down West Virginia here, as a sack is going to back him up to 2nd and 15. A handoff is going to get those yards back and a little bit more. Still 3rd down and long though, as Lagway is going to fire one over the middle. That's going to be caught, but a flag down. And is this one going to be standing, as the referee is going to signal pass interference on West Virginia? It's not going to matter. They're going to decline the penalty. It's going to be goal to go, and the handoff is in for the touchdown. West Virginia is going to have to score one to extend this to another overtime. White, deep drop. He's going to be running back, and he's going to get sacked. That's a long drop, and you just cannot take a sack that far back. And Pat White's going to try to run it, get some of the yards back. He only gets 2, though. And now 3rd down and 21. Deep drop again. Pressure in his face, and he's just going to throw it away. You could have at least tried something. It's 4th and 21. You're going to need a miracle if you're going to convert this and maybe keep this game alive. He's going to just throw it on the run. Nobody in the area. And Baylor's going to take down West Virginia a 3rd straight time. Luckily enough for West Virginia, though, even though they're not going to get a conference championship, it would have been a surefire 1st round bye. They're going to at least have a high enough ranking to secure a playoff spot, as they were going to be now having to go through a 1st round matchup instead of the bye. Also to add, Steve Slaton did make All-American for the 2nd team, so good season from him. And Florida State was the team that we took on in the opener of the season. We went up 28-0, and then quickly it became 28-20, but West Virginia was never really out of control of the game. And right now it's looking to be potentially the same thing. 14-0 turns to 14-7, 17-7, and with the 1st round playoffs, you know, they're pretty angry about not getting the bye week because of the conference championship loss, and they're going to come out here and look pretty comfortable against Florida State for the 2nd time this season, as it's not even going to end up being a 1-score game. 24-10 is the final, so regardless of the outcome of the conference championship, the results are ending up to be the same. They're in the same spot that they would have been in. They're facing Auburn in the next round, so it's a 17-17 game, another close one against a tough opponent, as this team has battled against Baylor, Kansas State, Cincinnati, all these ranked teams, and Florida State twice they've taken them down. So this team is battle-tested and ready to go, but it's 3rd down and long, and Pat White in this tie game is going to run it, and he's got speed. Pat White, he's got the 1st down, and he's going to slide down at the 2-minute warning, and look at the job from Pat White to convert a 3rd and 17 with his legs, and he's throwing one outside. Now he's doing it with the arm, and now inside the 10-yard line, down to the 5, 3rd down and goal is going to be punched in by Steve Slaton for the touchdown, and they're up by 7, a chance to go to the semifinals, as they could just stop Auburn, get this football back, and be on their way. But with a minute to play, 3rd down, the strike over the middle, going to be contested and dropped, as it's going to be 4th down, and now opportunity to put this one away, and they're going to do just that, and West Virginia is going to be moving on to the semifinals. Pat White, Steve Slaton, they're 1 step away from a national title appearance, and a great day for the defense, because the running game didn't really do all that much. But against Kentucky, this team took out Baylor, so I mean, if they were good enough to take out Baylor, they're definitely going to be good enough to take us out. It's a 16-16 game, so another close one in the teens. That's what West Virginia's been playing mostly, games in the high teens to low 20s, as it's going to be another one of those types of games to put this one away for either side, as Kentucky has the football, getting out of bounds, under 2 minutes to play, and they're at the 40-yard line, so a couple more yards for field goal range, and 3rd down's going to be broken up, and a massive stop there, so West Virginia takes over, football in their possession, and Pat White throwing one out. That's going to be Steve Slaton. He's not going to be able to make a man miss in the open field, but he's got the 1st down, and at the 39-yard line, hurry him back. It's going to be Pat White. He's going to drop back deep, and now he's going to run it, and he's got speed once more, and Pat White breaking a tackle, and Pat White gets brought down, and he's inside the 35-yard line, so close to field goal range. Read option gets blown up, and Kentucky is knocking them out. 3rd down and 14. You need a couple of yards here. You don't need to be aggressive, but he's going to try the shot, and it's incomplete, and they're not going to be able to get a field goal up. They don't have that good of a kicker. The kicker's only got like 80 kick power, so they're not going to be able to attempt a field goal from beyond 50 yards. We're in overtime now. Kentucky with the football to start, and they're going to get it inside the 10-yard line, and now Kentucky 3rd down and goal. Can they get the stop? And they're going to bring them down, and decision time. They're going to just take the field goal, and that's the perk of going second in overtime, is you know what you need now. Touchdown wins it, as Steve Slaton on the ground gets the 1st, and now they are just about 12 yards away. Now make it 10 yards away. It's going to be a handoff. Slaton up the middle. He's powering to 1st and goal at the 1-yard line, 1 yard away from ending this one, and the play action, and you could have just handed it to Slaton, but a play action is the decision. He gets sacked, and now he's going to get sacked again. third down and long. White to throw it. I think you should just play for the field goal here. He's going to throw one caught, and that's just a big blunder. You had it at the 1 yard line, and you tried to drop back play action. Tried to fool the defense, but you got the best running duo in the nation. Just run the ball. And now it's 19-19. They got the ball in overtime to start the second period. Steve Slaton, that's what you got to do. Just hand it off to him. He gets you inside the 10. Goal to go. Now it's going to be third down and goal. It's going to be White to throw it. And he's got time throwing it outside. That's going to be caught. Broken tackle. But at the 3 yard line, going to take the field goal. And now you flip sides, and Kentucky, you know what you need. A touchdown wins it here. 22-19. Dropping to throw. Defense is going to be rushing in. Sack. Fumble. And West Virginia picks it up. And West Virginia, the defense, punches their ticket to a national championship. And West Virginia, they had some struggles there, but it was good enough as the run game, again, wasn't spectacular. But Steve Slaton's rough game isn't going to hold them back. They're in the national championship, and somehow, some way, it's been 17-17, 16-16, and now 17-17 again, and a pick here, and now it's going to be taken the other way, and West Virginia, the defense is doing their job, and they're going to get them all the way into the end zone. Touchdown, pick six, 61 yards, and now with 3.5 to go, Clemson has a flag down, but the opportunity to put this one away from this great defensive performance, this entire playoff run, is here. One more stop, you put that ball in the hands of that ground game, you might be able to do it. And third down and 17, so close to the national championship, they're going to run it, and the quarterback is going to get the first down right at the marker, and he got it on 3rd and 17. Now thrown outside, that's going to be caught for another first down. And 2.5 to play, dropping to throw once more. He's got pressure in his face. 3 guys get in. Sack, 2-minute warning has hit. Second down and long. And he's got a clean pocket this time, throwing, and that's going to get some of the yardage back, but it's going to be third down and 11. Dropping to throw it. He's going to tuck and run it again. And another third down and long conversion is going to be on the ground. And the quarter, you got to spy him. You got to do something here. You can't just let him run for 2 straight big ones. And now he's going to throw a shot inside the 10-yard line, second down and goal. He's going to be going outside, caught, and now you're inside the 5-yard line, third down and goal. Drop him back. He's got the extra blocker in, but he's going to run it, and that's the 3rd time that drive. You just got destroyed by QB runs, and now it's in overtime as he's going to just tuck and run again inside the 10. Where's the adjustment? Where's the contain? Where's the spy? Second down and goal turns to 3rd and goal, but that turns the touchdown. Clemson and West Virginia now, they need an answer here in overtime. It's been a lot of close games, a lot of overtime. Pat White going to break a tackle. He's not going to get sacked, but he's going to get just a couple of yards, second down and 5. It's going to be a throw, and that's going to be caught right at the marker. They're going to say 3rd and inches here, and White is going to hand off to Slaton. He's got the first. Good call there. Just hand it off to your best player as White's going to drop to throw it. He's going to run right into pressure. He's going to break out of the sack, but throw an interception. And he threw the pick to lose the game. And Clemson is going to win the national championship. Pat White had an opportunity to get that touchdown, and he broke out of a sack. He got too antsy. He just made a mistake, and it's going to end in disaster for West Virginia. As not only that, but Steve Slaton, not a great playoff performance. And overall, the season, so much better. And you could tell just by the numbers, just so much better than it was last season. Pat White even ran for 1,200 yards. That's spectacular. I know it was at a couple of extra games because of the playoffs, but who knows if you're going to be able to get back to that spot. I mean, making it all the way to the national championship, especially with no first-round bye, that's brutal, but they're going to have another season to do it again, and we'll take a look at the little comparison between these two, and things look a little bit better in the favor of the game. Now, obviously, you do have to adjust for the fact that West Virginia in the simulation played more games, but almost equal rushing numbers, but the yards per carry was down, but still a lot more comparable. And then the passing, way up. The touchdowns overall way up. Even if you just adjust for the fact that they played more games, the overall yardage, way better. Touchdowns, better. Completion percentage, all the way up to 74%. So a really good season from Pat White, was in Heisman contention. And then for Steve Slaton, I'd say pretty equal, because, you know, I would say the season that we had in simulation was more impressive just because of the sheer volume. you know, the touchdowns obviously were more in real life, but Pat White seemed to finish off all the drives, and he had the majority of the touchdowns. But I consider 4.7 on 340 carries more impressive than 5 yards a carry on 211. So the sheer volume and reliability of Steve Slaton, I think I'm going to give him the edge here, but I think it could go either way. So going into the final season, Steve Slaton's a 94 overall. So he is ready to go right to the first round of the NFL draft if he wants to, staying in the school for final season. So this is going to be a little bit where we differ from real life, because Steve Slaton didn't play a 4th season at West Virginia. But Pat White, he did play a 4th season, and that was the worst season when, you know, you kind of split the duo in half. It wasn't as good. But Pat White, he's fully maxed out. He's looking really good, and he's a little bit more accurate, a little bit better. He threw for over 70% last season, so we'll see where you can get to this time. But he's going to be just as dangerous of a runner, and we'll see in the final opportunity, can these two guys go out there and win themselves a national title? The season starts off very nice. They go and drop 30-plus points, and all of their games start 4-0. I didn't really feel the need to show, because none of them were particularly all that close. Even if the scores weren't that bad, they were some blowouts. And, you know, Pat White through the air, not hitting 200 yards, but doing his thing, not throwing any interceptions. That's big. 2 100-yard rushing games as well. So he's going crazy there. A 75-yard touchdown run, too, in the opener. So then you go to Steve Slaton, and he's putting up the numbers. He's getting his carries, and he's going to average a bunch of yards per carry. So we're looking good over there. And as we move ahead through to the next game, we got a Cincinnati matchup. So Cincinnati's given this team a little bit of struggles. We've seen them have close ones. There was a close game last season, but another close one here on the road, 27-20, in Cincinnati trying to get a stop, and they do just that. Now they got the football back and an opportunity to tie this game up. Under 2 minutes to play. They need to drive the length of the field to do that, and a timeout used there. They're at the 40-yard line, second down, throwing one down the sidelines, and that's going to be caught. He jumped up, and that was great ball placement. The defender couldn't even get a hand on that one, and now they're inside the red zone. First down, that's going to be caught again, and he's right down at the 1-yard line, and all of a sudden they have gone all the way down the field, gotten the touchdown, and now it's a tie game. Minute to play. Pat White to throw. He's going to run it, and White, he's got the first down. He's got more than that, make it 17 yards at a first down, and now a new set of downs. He's going to throw, but this time he's getting sacked. He can't get away, and second down and very long with 50 seconds to go. He's going to throw one outside. That's going to be caught. He's going to make it third down and manageable, so nice to get back ahead of the sticks here. Third down, getting close to field goal range. He's sacked, though, and they're just going to run the clock out, take it to overtime. And this team has gone to overtime quite a bit, and they take 2 plays to get it in. Touchdown, and now Cincinnati's going to need to respond with a touchdown of their own, and they're getting sacked here. They got a long way to go. Third down and 20 just about, as they're going to get sacked again, and now an opportunity to end this game. Fourth down and long. Cincinnati trying to get it, testing it deep, and it's swatted away, and Cincinnati goes down. West Virginia hangs on for the victory. They're going to continue things on. Cincinnati's going to be one of the toughest opponents they face every single season, so getting out of there with a scary victory, but another 100-yard plus game, and then the defense is stepping up. They're doing their thing. Only 3 points allowed here, so even when the offense is out here throwing for, you know, not even 100 passing yards, Steve Slaton's still getting his 100 rushing yards. We got another kind of close game here. Virginia on the road in a non-conference game. It's an 8-point battle, trying to avoid another scare here to a team that they are definitely favored over West Virginia on defense, as Virginia got it in a first down converted at the 31-yard line. They're going to need that touchdown and a 2-point conversion to come out here, but under a minute to play, throwing one, that's going to be caught. First down, red zone, and they got plenty of time here. 47 seconds, second down. Going to throw it, clean pocket, quick pass, and that's going to be caught for the first, and he turns it up inside the 5, down to the 4. Third down and goal now, as a man in motion that clears out the backfield. He's going to break out of a sack, but he's not going to break out of the second one. Obviously, he can't spike the ball. Fourth down, game on the line, and West Virginia once again is going to hold on. It looks like it's Steve Slaton. They're going to not even kneel the ball. They're just handing it off to Steve Slaton, and Slaton, he's going to take it all the way, and that's going to be an 86-yard touchdown. That's just messed up. You did not need to do that. Steve Slaton takes it all the way, and that's going to top off what was basically a 200-yard game. You did not need to run the football there. That's just unnecessary, but it's going to be another win here against Iowa State, and now against Baylor. I mean, even Baylor, who has beaten this team 3 straight times, Baylor can't even stop him right now. They scored in every single quarter, 38 points put up, and we're seeing the final, evolution of how dominant this team can be. Kansas, who had beaten them before, not able to even come close. And another dominant, comfortable victory. I mean, if we keep dominating like this, 28 points in the fourth quarter, all the damage was done at the end. And while they were on upset alert, they took care of business. And another massive day from Slaton. Another 3-score victory here against a ranked Kansas State team. West Virginia finds themselves at the top of the nation right now, still undefeated. And I mean, at this rate, we've just speed ran ourselves to the conference championship. We're in the Big 12 title game. So many dominant victories, but another team that has just been a thorn in our side. It's been Baylor and it's been Cincinnati, and Cincinnati's not going to let us just steamroll our way all the way through to the college football playoffs. It's a 4-point game. Cincinnati with the ball, under 2 minutes to play, second down and inches. They're going to tuck and run it. He's got the first down comfortably and more, getting a 10-yard run out of bounds at the 31-yard line, second down and 10 after an incomplete pass. They're going to throw it, and he's got a very clean pocket, only 3-man rush, and they got a spy, so they gave him all the time he needed to complete the pass, get it to the 5-yard line, goal to go, and the opportunity to take the lead. West Virginia has not trailed really much at all this season. They're going to throw one outside, hit, but he hangs on, touchdown. West Virginia now, they need to go on a game-tying drive. This is rare territory for West Virginia this season. They have not needed to do this before. Pat White's going to run it. He's going to slide down, only gets 2, and now with just 40 seconds to play, 4th down and 11, game on the line. They're going to throw it, knocked down, and West Virginia, it took them all the way to the conference championship, but they lost. And they lost again in a position where they could have gotten a first-round bye. And this is just rough. Steve Slaton's going to go ahead, go make All-American, and not only that, he's going to win the Best Running Back Award, but for West Virginia, they got some issues not being able to just seal the deal in a Big 12 title game. They're going to have to go to the first round of the playoffs, though, and take on Missouri. So, back to where they were last season, despite the dominant regular season. No conference championship, but it's going to be no problem as they are able to take down Missouri. It looked like they were playing a little bit angry. 41-7, one of the most dominant victories that we've had in this video. And it comes in the first round of the playoffs. So, Pat White went out there, did his thing, and look at Steve Slaton, another 100-yard game. He's out here trying to set records, and now we got another matchup against Florida State. So this is a team we've ran into now. Once in the regular season last year, in the playoffs last year, we beat them both times, but now it's a tie game, 24-24, 3.5 to play. Pat White is going to fumble the football, and it's going to be picked up by Slaton, who's going to get dragged down all the way, 3rd down in so long. And Pat White, what does he got for us? He's going to try to run in. He's got a nice amount of room, and he's not able to break the tackle, so they're going to have to punt the football away. He just had one guy to make miss. He couldn't do it. Punt is away, and Florida State's going to have good field position, and on the return, it's going to be a nice one, and he's going to be past the 50 and to the 40-ish yard line, and Florida State now 2-minute warning. They have an opportunity to get a field goal here to end this game. They're going to run it here, and now past the first down marker, sliding down inside the 30-yard line. Handoff now, it's going to be outside of the running back, is going to cut up for the first down again. Timeouts are being used, 1.5 to play, and another carry, and another big run, and it's a first down and inside the 5, so at least if there's one good thing, you're probably going to get the football back, and they're going to score a touchdown, so they didn't run the clock. They're just going to go score the touchdown and make the pressure on Pat White in West Virginia, who's going to get the first down here. But this is basically it. This is the end of the video. When they lose, the video is basically done. And Pat White, he doesn't want it to end here. He's going to break out of a tackle, get a bigger run, and slide down. Big play helped them a lot, and now Pat White, second down, he's going to throw it. And he's going to go over the middle, got it for the first down. They're going to hurry back to the line, spike the football, second down and 10 once again. You're basically spiking it from here on out as Pat White's going to throw, and no, he's going to finally run it, and he was a little hesitant there. They burned their final timeout. It's a 9-yard run, 3rd down and 1. Need to convert here. White, he's going to step up, could have ran it, but he's going to throw it, and it's going to be intercepted in the end zone, and there's a flag down, and is this one going to stand? Is this how it ends? No, it's not. It's pass interference, and it's going to be keeping it in West Virginia's hands. First down and goal, throwing it out the back of the end zone. No one was open. Now we jump ahead, 3rd down and goal. Just no one's been getting open. Incomplete pass after incomplete pass, 3rd down. White's going to run. He's looking. He's not going to run it in. He's going to throw it out of bounds. Maybe he didn't feel like he would have gotten it. 4th down and goal, throwing it. White, back of the end zone. It's caught, And it's not going to be a touchdown. He caught it on the back line, but his foot was out of bounds. And that's how it ends. West Virginia goes down, and Florida State gets their revenge. And that's a disappointing way to end things, as not every story can have a happy ending where the team just wins the national championship and it's happily ever after. That was so close. I really felt like on that third down, White could have ran it in. He didn't. He decided to throw it away. Maybe he felt like he would have been caught, because if he got tackled in bounds, you probably aren't getting back to the line in 8 seconds to get another play. I felt like he should have ran it, but he didn't. And then on the final one, just disappointing. Player's foot was on the back line, but as we compare what Pat White did, obviously record-wise, he didn't have Steve Slaton in real life for his final season, so the record definitely helped out a lot, but passing yards, very equivalent. Touchdowns, very equivalent. The passing numbers were almost identical. These are like about as close of seasons as it got, and not only that, the rushing production for Pat White was actually better, so really on par with what he did in real life. That's really cool that we got like that dead on the money with how he did. Steve Slaton, on the other hand, I mean, he didn't play his final season at West Virginia. He went pro, but I mean, look at the monstrous season he ended up having in this. He went for over 1,800 yards. And we'll get down to the final comparison for these guys as Steve Slaton goes in the first round, Pat White goes in the second round. But let's compare and get the definitive answer on where they perform better, in real life or in the game. So the overall career of Pat White, seen them play almost a similar amount of games. The couple of bowl games, conference championships, is going to add on to what we had in the game. But overall, 2,000 more passing yards on about 100 more attempts. Touchdowns were up, interceptions were up, percentage about the same. Rushing, it didn't end up finishing that far off yardage-wise. Touchdowns-wise it did, but the yards per carry were a big difference. And then when we move over to Steve Slaton, there's a different conversation to be had because of the extra year we got out of him in the game, so you can kind of factor that into your decision of who was better. But I did make sure to add the yards per game that they had, and it was really close, 109 to 106. But obviously you could see the sheer amount of attempts that he had that were way more in the game. And the fact that the touchdowns, how much you weigh those in terms of how good they were, but 55 total touchdowns to 56 total touchdowns, equal yards per game. Both Pat White and Steve Slaton, great in real life, great in the game, but also like in real life, couldn't get over the hump and win that national championship. So let me know what you guys all think of this video, and if you enjoyed the format and the style, and if you want to see something like this again, like, comment, and subscribe, as all that stuff is super helpful to continue to get these videos out. And I will see you guys all in the next one.